last video was a long one, so let's follow it up with something shorter, Prehistoric Isle. Like Crystalis and Psycho Soldier, this is being played on the SNK 40th Anniversary Collection. Unlike those two, this game I'd never heard of before getting this collection. The game is set in the 1930s, where ships have been disappearing near the Bahamas. Nearby countries, including the US, launch an investigation which leads to them discovering Green Hill Isle, and they send two planes to investigate where they immediately get attacked by dinosaurs. The first level, or Inquiry as they're calling them, is just Forest. It's a standard side-scrolling shooter. We have red pterodactyls that fly together in lines, and green ones that fly in a wavy pattern. Shooting eggs open gets you bonuses, like this pea that gets me an option that fires different weapons depending on its position. We're also being attacked by what I assume are Ankylosaurus. I'm sure a huge fan of dinosaurs will furiously correct me in the comments in the far future. And also gigantic cavemen that are around the same size as my plane. We get giant pterodactyls that take a few shots to kill, and I spend a while wondering why my plane is being weighed down, not realising there's a caveman clinging to it. Soon after, I'm moving upwards around all these hives spawning giant bugs. During this, my option starts rapidly shooting massive rings that move faster and let me kill quicker. By the time I'm moving sideways again, it's replaced with a double-sized version of my normal shot. At this point we get enemies coming in from all sides of the screen and rocks to fly through, and I manage that entire section without dying somehow to meet the first boss, the Brachiosaurus. Its weak spot is the head, but staying too close is a huge risk as it can lunge forward, grab your plane in its mouth and destroy you. It also spits fireballs. It doesn't have much health though, and I blow its head off. But the level isn't done and keeps going. I end up with an entire ring of options around me along with two more that circle around them and kill any enemies they ram into. What follows is me going downward for a bit, dodging cliffs, before I meet the real boss of this level, the Allosaurus. This one also has its head as a weakness as it slowly walks up to me spitting 3 fireballs. Flying above it will also have it jump at me, but I managed to blow it up without getting touched. Next is Inquiry 2, Airborne. Here we're just flying through the clouds at high speed shooting down all the dinosaurs. We also have giant bats with cavemen hanging on by their feet, along with these bugs falling down from the top of the screen that I kill before they get a chance to do anything. They're followed by an even bigger bug that just flies around spawning smaller versions of itself. Killing that gets a boss to show up, Rhamphorhynchus, that's it. This time the big head isn't the target, but the body. It fires miniature tornadoes and a wave of other projectiles at once. The tornadoes don't kill on contact, they'll instead try to weigh me down like the cavemen. That's about all there is to say about this one. It has a long health bar and takes quite a few shots to kill. That was also the entire level. Next is Inquiry 3, On the Ground. At first it's just the same enemies we've seen already, until I reach a body of water and get sharks jumping out at me. I could just float way out of their jump reach, but that doesn't occur to me, so I get killed a few times. I move past the water, get the same enemies before I reach some more. I also get this one caveman that refuses to let go and drags me down to more sharks. Arsehole. Through the first 2 levels, I was doing well, not dying that often. By the time I leave this cave, that's no longer the case. As I enter the next, I start getting these weird ant things with their long tongues. Once I leave the cave, we get the next boss, the Unknown Dinosaur. It's just a big head on a tail that looks like it's made of tumours. From the mouth it spits out giant fireballs, with a spread shot coming out from the end of the tail. The head is the weak point, which makes it a pain to hit, as when it moves it takes up a lot of space, and when it gets close those fireballs are almost impossible to dodge. But when I destroy it finally, the level continues. It's mostly returning enemies until I enter another cave and follow this waterfall upwards where I start to be attacked by what I assume are flying scorpions. Once I reach the top, I face more of the same enemies as I head further into the cave. After a certain point, I find the level's true boss, the ancient Coleoptera. It starts by sending debris flying all over the place and follows that up with spitting boulders at me. The boulders then make more debris fly up. That's all there is to this boss, but it has a smaller life bar than the previous bosses, so it goes down quickly. It splits into 4 smaller versions of itself who fire a spread shot of fireballs and also split into 4 even smaller versions of themselves when they get killed. I die a lot thanks to all the space they take up, but it's not that long before they're all dead and I finish the level. Inquiry 4 is Bottom of the Sea. How's a 1930s biplane working underwater? It's mainly a load of what I think are Nautilus. First smaller ones swimming in a circular pattern and then big ones right after that can spit fireballs. I think these next enemies are coelacanths, then whatever the hell this big guy is spitting water balls at me. I can never kill them before they leave the screen. Right after we get some anemone that fire more spread shots followed by jellyfish. After them is the next boss, the Archelon. Weak point is the head and it can spawn some tiny turtles from its back. This can be a pain once it reaches the left side of the screen as it will then take forever to get back in a position where you can actually do damage to it. Never mind the turtle swarming you and taking your shots for it, but I kill it and the level continues. What follows is nothing new for a bit, apart from finding the ruins of all those ships that sank around here. Then this purple shit shows up. I'm not even going to pretend I know what this is. They take quite a few shots to kill though. I swim through the ruins of this ship until I'm above it and continue along the top until I've passed it. That's when I see another ship sink in front of me and a pair of Brachiosaur's heads come out. It passes and eventually I'm in a cave. It's here we meet the level boss, the Ammonite. Its face is the weak point, but it has these wavy tentacles that can pass in front of it and block your shots. It can spit fireballs, streams of water, and the tentacles can grab your plate and drag you in so it can eat you. This boss takes longer than any so far. I get killed a lot and can only get a few hits in at a time. That was a boss I was quite glad to see explode at the end. Inquiry 5 is underground. Well, for a while we just get more returning enemies until this giant flying bug shows up. I feel like I fought that guy in Crystallis. It's backed up by a long stream of the smaller bugs and it can spit the long fireballs. A little later we get smaller versions of those bugs and already I'm meeting a boss. The Stegosaur just drops through the ceiling. This seems it can be damaged anywhere except for like the top 20% of the body. It can jump while surrounded by electricity to shoot debris into the air and make it fall towards me. In fact, that's all it can do. We blow each other up at the exact same time and the level continues. More returning enemies and soon after I'm descending even further into this cave. Once again it's all returning enemies while I try to avoid hitting the walls on the way down. This is the part of the game where it just swarms you with loads of everything. Eventually I reach the bottom, which has me flying above magma. After taking out an insane amount of pterodactyls, I'm suddenly surrounded by a load of very sturdy sentient fireballs all bouncing around the screen. Once I reach the end, I meet the final boss, the Tyrannosaur. It bounces around the screen firing the longest chain of fireballs of any enemy in the game. Then there's the fireball rings it also spits out. The only weak point is the mouth when it opens to attack, which isn't a very long amount of time. And this guy has a long health bar, so it takes a while. There's not much else to say about it and around 3 minutes later, I take it down. The blue player 2x-plane also appears to leech off of my accomplishment. The pilots are relieved to have escaped from the island and they board a nearby carrier. The pilot intends to report their findings to the government, but then the carrier is swarmed by pterodactyls, destroying it and killing everyone on board, the player included. And so no one finds out the truth of Green Hell Isle. I also got an achievement for the collection. Prehistoric Isle was a fun 25 minutes. I find it was just the perfect length for a game of that era. Other shmups might have a final level that goes on for an eternity and is much longer than the rest, but this is just the perfect length. The only other shmup I've done for this show is Eco Fighters, and while that was more advanced technically, I think this was the more enjoyable of the two. There was no control gimmick to be a minor nuisance when it's the worst possible time, for example. This game did get a sequel 10 years later, and hopefully it doesn't take that long for me to cover it on this show.